Good morning, everyone. It's been an early morning for me. I've been up since 5:30. We were doing a hedge on the side of the road there. Thankfully, we're done it. Thankfully, it is 8:30 at the moment, so it's been a very early morning. I've been up since 3:30. We've been on the road since 5:30 doing the hedge, that hedge. But thankfully, it's done. But anyway, on to the topic at hand. Just when I'm here, I have a few minutes now before I go back, because I've another hour to do still. But yeah, long story short, we know that the government are talking about it at the moment, and I suppose we could, we could go either way, I suppose, in this debate. But it's to do with e-scooters, particularly e-bikes, scooters itself. Now, there's many different avenues you could talk about here. We suppose we'll talk about a few of them. But the first thing is, of course, they are very dangerous. A lot of young people are using them. There's been a lot of young people killed. A lot of young people have been seriously injured the last few weeks. A lot of teenagers, etc. Some teenagers have been killed on them. They're extremely dangerous, of course, and especially they're dangerous to pedestrians too. I've seen many instances of people nearly been knocked down on footpaths, e-scooters going along the footpath and nearly knocking people down. I was nearly knocked down 3 or 4 times by e-scooters, and they're not allowed to be on the footpath, but of course, young people who won't listen anyway. But long story short, they are dangerous for people who are using them and for members of the public that are just walking along the street, etc. The second thing is, of course, they're handy for young people, etc., because they just buy them, etc., not like a car or a motorbike, etc., where you have to pay tax and insurance, etc. Now, the other proposal is an outright ban. Of course, that's what the government want to do at the moment. I think Micheál Martin wants it. And the other thing is, the other thing, if they weren't going to ban it, they were going to tax people. They're going to make them pay insurance and tax, of course, because it's the golden cow. At this stage, they'd be taxing you to go to the toilet if they got away with it. But as I say, it's my view personally, is they are dangerous. They are very dangerous. And not to mention, the other thing is too, that the batteries inside these electric scooters, etc. There's been many times there's been huge amount of fires. And of course the aluminum batteries, etc., they just explode basically. They cause it's a huge issue when they do explode, because they cause extreme amount of damage. There's been many instances in Cavan. I've seen many times in Dublin, across the country too, but I've seen a good few instances in Cavan where people's whole houses nearly burned to the ground because of e-scooter batteries. Because they just explode, they literally just explode, and it's so hard. They're not like an ordinary fire, it's aluminum batteries. They're very dangerous, and they're bad for the environment too, because obviously these batteries have to be mined, etc. So they're not like, I know some people say they're friendly for the environment, etc. Maybe so, but they still have to be mined, the batteries, and they are dangerous when they do explode. Not all of them explode, but some of them could explode. You could use it 100 times and it might not happen. You could use it 1,000,000 times and it might not happen, but you could just get the wrong one. And even at that too, it's when they heat up too, they can explode too. But of course, the other thing is too, as we were saying, it's for a lot of young people particularly, you don't have to pay tax and insurance and stuff, and it's not too dear. Some of them are dear, but a lot of them are cheap enough. But I suppose it's the argument, and I suppose in my view that they are dangerous. Probably young people shouldn't be probably using them. They probably shouldn't be allowed on Irish roads. To force them out, I agree with the government. They are dangerous. They are extremely dangerous. You're more safe nearly on a push bike than you are, because they can go across speeds too. I've seen them myself. They can go across speeds. They can go faster than only push bike, etc. And a lot of young people, first of all too, the other problem is too, along with that, a lot of young people don't wear a helmet, etc. There's been many people hurt, severely hurt, because they fell off it and banged their head, etc. Because that's extremely dangerous. I never seen, as far as I've seen, one person on an e-scooter wear a helmet. We're just asking for trouble, if you ask me. But you're nearly safe on a push bike or a motorbike than an e-scooter. E-scooter is very, very dangerous. But a lot of young people, of course, they think they're invincible, etc. But I do think we should ban it. I do think, even if we said nobody under 18 can have an e-scooter. I don't know, would that work? That probably wouldn't work. It's still dangerous in general. I've seen so many adults too. I've heard about so many adults too that were hurt or fell off of the e-scooters or died in e-scooter accidents too, because a lot of it's mainly teenagers, etc., and young adults that's using it, but there are people in their 40s and the 50s using it. But still, it's dangerous. I suppose I don't know what's the right call here, but definitely I don't know about taxing people and insuring, because eventually they would charge you to push a push bank around the place. They'll tax you and insure you for that, because it's all just a money whack at the end of the day. That's what they're trying to do. Because let's be fair, the Irish government don't really give a damn about somebody being killed on the road. Let's be fair, they don't care. Suppose that they couldn't care. I don't think they ever cared. But the simple thing is, I don't know, would that even stop it? Like, what would taxing and insurance people stop people from being killed on the scooters, etc.? Because young people still go driving at insane speeds, etc. I suppose I suppose we could talk about this if the cows come home. But I do think the majority of parents, etc., don't want their children on e-scooters because they are dangerous, and I do think it should be banned. But I do think we should have a discussion about this in society. What is the right course? Because I suppose at the end of the day, it is up to the parents to make sure their children, if it is teenagers under 18, that they are not, driving recklessly, etc. Or even for the teenagers themselves, is their own, if they want to drive recklessly and end up in a crash, etc. That's their own choice, I suppose, when they're over 18, because we did see a young girl the other day in 16 was knocked down. I think she's still alive, please God, hopefully she is. She was knocked down in Galway. And then there was another young lad down the country too that I think was killed off an e-scooter just the other day. But I suppose we could argue about this till the cows come home. But I personally, I don't know. I really don't know, to be totally honest with you, what's the right course here. But I would be more in favour of the ban. But at the end of the day, I do think it's up to the public to decide too what they think is right. But it'd be interesting just to see polls, that they take, the polls, if there was a survey done on it, how many people would be in favour, how many people would be against banning it. But as I said too, it was a good decision a few years ago that they stopped, well, technically it's illegal still, to drive on the footpath with an e-scooter, etc. But unfortunately the Gardaí can't enforce chicken. But because there's been many people knocked down too just by e-scooters, people going too fast. But anyway, do let me know what you think. What's your opinion? As I say, there's many different ways of looking at it. A lot of people would say the government want to just tell us everything what to do. And on the other hand too, you have to think about, people's lives, etc. Think about particularly young lives. To try to keep them alive, etc. And I suppose too, to get around, etc. There's many different avenues you can argue about in this topic. But yeah, do let me know what you think, because I don't know, to be honest. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't know what we do, and I don't know would it make a difference even if we did ban it. I think young people are still to get them anyway and drive them anyway. Let's put it that way. Anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more. Bye.